Hey everyone, thanks for being with us as always. We are here tonight to review editing of a low light concert shot. A viewer asked us to make a video showing how we edit those, so we're here to do that tonight. Alright, so we've got our low light concert shot. I think this is one of yours. You want to walk us through how you edited this one in post?
Yeah, so the one thing I have to say is that a lot of pictures, every time we edit them, the outcome is going to be different.
Yeah, very, very true.
So there's no magic formula. I'm just going to guide you through basically what I do. And if I re-edit the same picture, it's going to look completely different.
Yeah, different.
But as long as I like it, as long as I fix the main problems that I see, I'm okay with that. So this is the picture exactly out of the camera. This is raw and it's completely reset. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I see a few problems. Is one, I see there's a lot of green because of the light that there was in the room. So definitely gonna have to fix this. Then I believe, to me, there's too much headroom.
Yeah, I agree.
And also some white balance. So not even just the green, but so you can remove the green, but still have a color balance, a white balance problem. So I think that, then possibly clean some of the noise, or to enhance. It's not bad actually for 8000 ISO. That's pretty good.
True.
And I don't know, to make maybe it'll pop a little bit more, and to change maybe the color of the background to make it a little bit more interesting. Those are the main thing that I see as a little problem.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So the first thing, so for the crop, so I go to this particular tool. To me, I want to remove from the top. So what I like to do, either I conserve the ratio as it is shot, which I think is a 3:2, or I'm more free with it. And I think I'm going to go with a free one, but I like to conserve known, established ratios.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
5:7, 8:10, whatever.
If someone wanted to make it into a print,
yes,
it would fit standard printing conventions.
Yes, and the way, and actually that's something that I realized not long ago, that you can be in a free mode, because you can see that the padlock here is not locked, so you can put it wherever really you want. But what I like to do is to move slightly, and bam, you can see that here it said that here, if you stop here, it'd be a 5:7. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with
I
a 5.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it's something
that's new to me.
Yeah, that's something I realized not long ago. I'm like, well, let's continue custom. Oh, here, if I stop here, it'd be a 4:3, which is a known ratio. You know, that's pretty cool. And I can basically get it, or this. Would I like it better, 8:10? I don't know. Man, then maybe I'm gonna remove some of the custom, and then there it comes back to an 8.5:11. So I guess let's go with that. I'm not going to put a whole lot of thought into it, but that's a little trick. It's pretty neat. So you still have an established ratio. So let's assume that the crop is good enough. We have some headroom here, and all that. So second thing I like to fix is to get my white balance roughly where I need to be. So the shirt, I know it's a white shirt, because we saw them, we know exactly that the shirt was white. It was not green or anything like that. So I'm going to take the little eyedropper and point it over there, and bam. Now it already changes definitely the mood of the colors. They're a little bit more neutral. The skin tone's a little bit better, and let me zoom in to his face. So there's still a green cast on his forehead, and I know that his strap is also black. So by hovering over by the strap, I can read the numbers. Let me point the 3 numbers here. They should be fairly identical. And here for the red, 20, green, 23, 23. It's close enough. I don't know if I move 23 to it could be a little warmer if I want to conserve this. So let me add a little bit more warmth by increasing the temperature here. 19, 23, 21. Okay, that's close enough for this. So I like to remove this green cast. There's a few ways you can do this. You can go with a hue and change the green to change them into yellow. let's see what happens. So let's pay attention to this particular thing. Yeah, so you can see that the greens are changing. So they definitely lessen. And you can also take the saturation down for the greens. So that should be a little bit, it's very small, but it's there. I could do more, but the thing is, I don't like to do too much because I'm sure there's some green.
Right, you're affecting all the greens in the whole photo, not just the ones you don't like.
Yes, and that's a dangerous, so sometimes it's good to make the adjustment when you're zoomed out. But let's say that's much better. It's cleaner. I think on this one, right now I'm mostly working with the colors. Here for the camera calibration, everything is set to the Adobe standard. And if you play with those, I like to play with those a lot because it changes the whole tonality of the picture. And it gives a different look very quickly. Like for example, here I'm removing some of the reds versus pushing them. I don't want it to be too electric, too vibrant.
Right.
And here with the green, I can definitely take some of the green out. And then you can play with the blues as well, and it changes from, because here it used to be, let me see if I can do, yeah. Here it's like almost saturated, all the details are gone, but here I'm recovering, it's a little bit more natural. So that's a little bit better. I think I'd like to play with some split toning. So split toning, the way it works is you select a color and intensity for all the highlights, and then you take another color if you want for only the shadows. So what that means is if you select highlights, and I'm going to take like a purple color, like something very obvious. So for the highlights, which is this little panel, it has this particular color, the hue, and the saturation, and it only technically affects all the highlight parts, but it does not touch the shadows. So now you can set the shadows to also, let's say, same color. It's not the whole picture. It's basically one color for the shadows and the highlights that are the same. But it's good sometimes, so split toning, where you say, I want to take all the highlights and tint them in certain color and all the shadows into another color. And it creates some really cool effects. So what I personally like to do is that on the shadows, to push it more towards the blues, and the highlights towards more the yellows, and that's fairly standard, and it creates this nice contrast.
Let's see.
So here on the shadows, I'm going to select a blue, let's say this one, and then for the highlight, some yellows. So either here, you select whichever you think looks pretty cool, and then you kind of mix them. And you can see what feel, and I kind of like that kind of look. I think it's pretty neat.
It does look nice.
You can see this is also pretty neat to see. You can see that the hair is getting a little bluer. You can push it even stronger. So really, this is up to taste. This is really what you like. I mean, it's whatever looks good. So this is standard, and now this is with the split toning. To me, there's a difference.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And it's almost like vintage, also a little bit.
Yeah, true.
So I think this looks nice. Again, there's no right or wrong. Here, I think this is pretty neat. The last thing, not the last thing, but to go forward, the exposure looks about pretty good. I'm not going to change it a whole lot. I have pretty much data everywhere. Contrast seems to be, you kind of move it. To me, that's pretty okay. I don't see anything inherently wrong. Now, one thing I like to say is if you press the J key, it kind of shows you where you're going to clip. So here you can see all the blacks. Those are going to be clipped.
So these are where we've lost details.
Yes, and then vice versa. If you go too much, it tells you that here you're going to lose all that, which of course you can recover with the highlights. But I don't even want to go there because I think the exposure is pretty good on this particular picture. I don't think I want to push anything in the shadows. I don't need to see this guy.
No, I'd rather,
right?
I think I would prefer not to see him. That's a little distracting when you have all that detail. Yeah, I like him a little silhouetted back there.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then so you're gonna here for your whites, it's really to set the highest point of the picture that should be white and the lowest point for the blacks. So generally, I hold the Option key and until I see some details, and that is going to be from the mic. That's going to be the brightest thing, and then vice versa for the blacks. I hold the Option or Alt key. And there you go, kind of like here. So the blacks are going to be much blacker. It's going to have more contrast. Now, of course, you see this, but we really don't care,
right?
Because I don't need to see all the details in the hair. I'd rather have a more poppy image. So let me click the J key again. There you go. So that's pretty neat. I may push the exposure maybe a little bit. So that's pretty okay. Clarity, I generally use some, but on skin it looks weird. So if I do add some, it's going to be very small because otherwise this is what happens. Like it makes it very crunchy.
Yeah.
Which is a style.
It's a different look.
It's look. It's a little too grungy for me. So I prefer to stay fairly natural. Again, taste. Vibrance is basically the same as saturation, except that it basically analyzes all the colors that aren't saturated enough. So it's going to analyze what you have, and you say adjust the vibrance. It's going to say, oh, this color is kind of muted, so let me push it. And what happens is I tend to conserve the skin tones really well because, okay, if I'm pushing the saturation, everything is going to be very pushed.
Right.
But if you do the same on just the vibrance, the skin tones is somewhat conserved a little bit better. So I prefer to use the vibrance more than the saturation. Of course, you can go the opposite way to make it a little bit more, muted, which is nice also. So you can create a lot of different type of looks with just this technique, I guess. And this is pretty neat. I like that.
Next, do you want to show us how to use selective color on only the guitar? No?
Actually, yeah, we can. And I will show you exactly how to do selective coloring in Lightroom. That's very easy, actually. I'll do it at the end.
Don't show anyone how to do selective color.
No, it's awesome.
It's our favorite technique.
Yeah.
Hire us for your wedding. You'll only see your eyes.
Yeah.
Everything else black and white.
So that's that. Now, what I like to do also, I don't think I'm going to do it on this particular picture, but I'll show you. The tone curves, you have, so the RGB means it's going to be all the colors. It's going to be the whole exposure. You're not going to target one particular channel. So what I like to do is, if you want to create this little vintage feel, what I like to do is to go to the medium contrast because it already sets the points for me. Then on the left side of the histogram, well, it's not really a histogram, but the curve is going to be your darks, and then here's going to be your lights, your whites. So in my shadows and darks, I'm going to push it a little bit, and then push it a little bit also here. Not much, so it doesn't make it like very muted. Like I'm going to push it so you can see the difference. It creates this very flat black, which is really cool. For fashion and things like that. And actually this looks pretty neat. It gives like a film.
Yeah, it does.
Look.
Yeah.
But on this one, I'm gonna keep my blacks fairly black, so a tiny bit. And then you can go in the reds, and here the reds are pretty dominant, and you can play with the shadows in your reds. So you can make your reds a little bit green.
Ooh.
Or more reds in your background. See, it creates this little...
Yeah, that's a super cool tool. I love that one.
And then I don't want any greens, so I can take some of the greens out, and you can see they mix even, and then the blue, what am I going to do with the shadows in the blues? Do I want more? To make it, of course, red and blue is going to be purplish. It's going to turn the picture a little bit purple. But let's say I don't want to go there. I'd rather have, let's say, a red feel. So kind of like that, but not too much. I try to not push it too much. And vice versa, you can play with the highlights, all your whites. So you can see if I take some green down from the highlights, it's going to turn, the red from the highlights is going to turn green. I'm not going to touch any of that. So that's pretty good. I like the feel of this picture. we've done this, plate toning, did this. Okay, last thing is sharpening. What I like to do, because this picture was taken from RAW, there's no sharpening from the camera, so
Right.
you have to manage your own sharpening. What I like to do, I'm trying to be pretty fast.
You're fine. You're doing great.
So I increase the sharpening a little bit. I'll hold the Option Alt key for masking until I keep the details that I want. So that is, I want this guy in white, and this is where it's going to affect the sharpening. I don't want to see the whole background and the guy in the back and the, you see what I'm saying, like all those points. I don't want that, because otherwise you're going to sharpen noise and things that you don't want. So I only want to sharpen what I want, which allows me to crank this one up, reduce the details a little bit, and it should be pretty nice and more poppy. I like to do a little bit noise reduction, but that's really not a whole lot that I would need to do here. So I'm going to leave it like this. Lens correction, there's no need. There's no architectural or anything like that. So I'm not even going to touch this little vignette. If you like it, put a little vignette on it.
If you like it, put a vignette on it.
Is that the expression?
Yeah.
So here again, it's taste. This is the original without a vignette, and I like to put a little vignette often to kind of focus the eye onto the subject. Now, some people, may go crazy or like very no feather, and I don't.
Oh my.
Yeah, I don't like any of that. But I like to be a little subtle to kind of create like as if the vignette was natural and created by the lens more than post processing. And that is pretty much the picture, the image. So this is the now versus before. Before, after. Before, after. Big difference. A little bit more. I don't know. I think I like it.
I love before and after. I always feel like the original looked great until you work on it and you get it looking pretty good, and then you go to the before and it looks
like,
just like horrifying.
Now, for everybody, I would like to select a new brush, and then
You're gonna do it.
Of course, drop the saturation all the way down, and we're gonna keep the guitar. And this is how
you're creating monsters.
This is how you basically creating quickly a selective color. That's beautiful.
It has its place.
Let me remove that if I can.
Why don't you, before you accidentally submit it in a book publication and get embarrassed on the interwebs? I've heard it's a thing.
It is a thing. So yeah, this is basically this edit. Now I'm going to create a little quick snapshot because I like this one. So it's going to be take 2. And you can see that the original one, I saved that here. And I went a different route with this one. This one more organic or more yellows and earthy.
Yeah.
This one is a little bit more vibrant, which is interesting too. I don't know which one I like yet, but I guess I would have to see them and to decide.
Yeah.
But, so basically, going through the process is not going to guarantee the same outcome. That's I guess the main thing. Ooh, one more thing is like if you have some, like let's say on this one because it's more obvious on the crop. If you have little details like this, so there's a little thing you can do is to simply heal here, and you can fix this very pretty easily.
Super easy, super fast.
Yeah, so it takes really no time to, just make it cleaner.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Did you have any question? Did I miss something?
No, I think you did a great job. I think you covered everything. Yeah. Send us more suggestions if you guys would, please. We always have ideas for different videos, but we don't know what anyone wants to watch. We just know what we like to make. So more ideas about what people actually would be interested in watching are always appreciated. So yeah, please continue doing that. Thanks so much for being here with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night.
Bye.